everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Uluwadara Salt. If you are new here, you're welcome. Welcome to the family. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. It's good to have you here. In today's video, we will be talking about influence. I have heard quite a number of people say that they can never be influenced. And I find that really interesting because I believe everyone is a result of influence. We all are the result of influence, whether that be your education, the kind of educational background that you have, the kind of environment that you grew up in, or the kind of environment that you live in, or the kind of people that you surround yourself with. But yes, I don't want to give it away before we're done. So I'm going to share a personal story with you. So there was a time in my life when I used to work with someone whose preferred genre of music is Fuji. He loves Fuji music. That's the genre that he would always listen to, at least most of the time. And before I knew it, I started singing it. Now, I was living with my mom at that time, and every time I'm going around the house, I'm singing songs, but then they're Fuji songs. And no matter how, even if I choose to compose a song, even if I something comes to my mind, because one of the things I do randomly is when something comes to my mind, I just really turn it to music, right? So when that happens, it was usually Fuji music. And my mother would tell me, "You are being influenced by your manager." And I would tell her, "No, that's not possible. He can't influence me. I'm just joking around, I'm just playing around." When I stopped working with him, I looked back and I realized how much of an influence he had been in my life without me even noticing. And even though my mom was trying to talk to me, even though my mom was telling me consistently that I had changed or I was changing or my preferred genre of music was already changing at the time, I still told her that I was okay and nothing was wrong with me and nobody was influencing me and that was the way that I was. And I was just messing around with the genre because I found it really funny at the time. But my people, eventually I it became a part of me. All right. And that's just to say that you are being influenced. There is no such thing as, oh, I can't be influenced, I can never be influenced, nobody can influence me. That's not possible. You really cannot not be influenced. And the whole point is, as long as you surround yourself with a particular thing, as long as you stay around a particular situation, a particular circumstance, a particular environment, you will pick up little things from those things. Why? A very beautiful Yoruba adage says, Bí ewé bá ti pẹ́ lára ọṣẹ, ó máa ń di ọṣẹ ni. Here's the concept. Leaves are major ingredients in the making of African black soap, right? So if after making your soap, or after getting your soap, you decide to store that soap in a leaf, or you decide to wrap it with leaves, eventually the leaves that you used as a form of protection or that you used as a form of storage will eventually turn to soap. That's what it means. And I think that's so beautiful because it's a pointer to the fact that as long as you're human and you're around things, you're going to pick up, your mind subconsciously picks up things. Your mind subconsciously adapts to your surroundings. Even if you seem like you're the only one who is different, or you're even if it seems like you're different from everybody who is there, you most likely would have picked up things that you normally would not have done if you were not in that environment, or if you were not surrounded by those people. One thing that I find really beautiful about the adage that I shared earlier on is the fact that the leaf did not become soap in one day. It took a while. The soap had been wrapped by the leaf for a long time, for a certain period of time. And the leaf, by being wrapped around the soap, started to degrade. It began to lose its guard, all right, and began to take on the attributes of the soap that it is wrapped around. They've been together for so long. And before you know it, over time, it ended up becoming soap. And that's the way influence works. When you are being influenced, you still look like your leaf. You still look like everything is better. It still looks like, oh, you're yourself. You're fine. Nothing has changed. But then when you look back, you realize that so many things have changed. And when you ask yourself questions and you are being sincere with yourself, you will be able to say that the reason why I acted this way or that way was because I was surrounded by these set of people, or I found myself in these environments. I'm sure that many of us would have looked back in our lives and asked questions like, oh, why did I act that way? And it's usually because you were surrounded by a certain set of people or a certain type of people, and they acted in a certain type of ways, and you were in a certain type of environment, and the whole thing combined together built you, made you do what you did, influenced you to acting in that kind of way. It could be a satisfactory way, it could be making you into a better person, it could be influencing you negatively or positively. But the whole point here is everyone is a result of influence. If you really want to see certain things in your life, then you have to be intentional. One thing that I believe kills a lot of people is the que sera sera. Whatever will be attitude. And I want you to know that that's not a way to live your life. Living your life just by going with the flow is not the best way. You have to be intentional about life. You have to be intentional about the things that you do, the kind of words that you speak, the kind of people that you surround yourself with, the kind of stuff you read, the kind of stuff you watch. These are things that you really need to be intentional about. And I'm saying this for those who really want to get certain results. I believe that everyone must be intentional with their lives. You cannot afford to go with the flow unless you're going with the flow of the Holy Spirit. That's the only one that is permitted. Okay, you cannot afford to go with the flow. You cannot afford to live your life just by going with the flow. Think about what you want to be in the nearest future. What kind of people will you be surrounded by? What kind of thought processes will they have? What kind of qualities will they possess? And when you're able to figure this out, I will advise that you write them down. Write them down and begin to intentionally choose your circle, choose your environment based on that list. Now, why is it important that you write them down? Number one, it forces you to give a definition or an explanation to what you really want. Here's what I mean. It's easy to create an idea in your mind. I have a lot of things going on in my mind. I have a clear picture of what I want my future to look like. I have a clear picture of what I want my life to look like. However, what I have in my mind is very broad. And unless I put them down, it will not be definite. All right. So when you write down things, In fact, you may think that you have something all figured out, and then the moment you decide to write it down, you realize how much you do not have it figured out. So writing things down forces you to create a definition for it. In fact, there are so many people who say, "Oh, I know what I want to do. I know what I want to be in life, but I just don't know how to put that in words." Now that's a problem. You have to find a way to define it, write it down, define it. All right. So the first thing writing down would do for you is forcing you to be definite about what you want. It helps you create a clearer picture of what you really want. The second thing that writing down will do for you is it helps you to remember. It really helps you to remember. I know you have a great memory, but my people, we forget things. Life comes with a lot of distractions. You probably will get busy at work. You probably will have to um you probably there's so many things that could come up, all right? Life will get busy. And the truth about life getting busy is that all of the things that keep you busy are things that seem to be important. One person said, and I quote, that one of the very interesting things about excuses is that they're usually genuine. You truly believe that this is a good reason why I have not done this, and you feel justified by giving those excuses. But the truth is, you also have to be intentional about your life. So writing this down will really help you to remember the things that you really want to do. And also, when you're writing down, please don't just write it in a jotter and close it, right? Don't write it in a book and then close it or keep it in your safe. No, write it and put it in a place where you will always remember. Write it and put it in a place where you will always see it. It could be on a board, it could be on a I don't know, you just put it in a place that is really close. I would not advise that you put it in a book unless it's a book that you open every day. And when you open the first page, that's the first thing that you see. So when you're writing, write it in a place where you can see and remember. The third thing that writing down would do for you is it builds in you a sense of responsibility. Writing down is like signing a contract with yourself. All right. When you write these things down, it's like you're signing a contract with yourself. It's like you're creating an agreement with yourself. So you're being intentional. So it forces you to be responsible because every day you're seeing it and you're like, oh, I need to do this. It brings to your mind the fact that you have made the decision to be responsible. Now, someone is probably saying, well, even if I write it down, nothing's going to happen. I'm not going to change it. First of all, write it down and set your mind to say, this is my commitment to myself. I'm writing down as a form of commitment to myself. I'm saying that I'm going to do this. I'm promising myself. In fact, you can put your signature to help you remember that I signed a contract to myself and I'm going to be intentional about ensuring that I carry out my duties as expected of me based on the contracts that I have signed with myself. This is very essential. So it builds in you a sense of responsibility or more. I have to do this. I cannot afford to fail myself. I cannot. Always remember or always remind yourself that if you do not do these things, if you do not fulfill the terms and conditions that you've written down in your contract to yourself or with yourself, it means you failed yourself. It means you failed yourself. You have breached a contract with yourself. So it builds in you a sense of responsibility. So, what are the three things that writing down would do for you? First of all, is it forces you to give a definition and build clarity on the things that you really want. Second thing it would do for you is it keeps what you want in your consciousness, it helps you to remember. Okay. And the third thing is it builds in you a sense of responsibility. So you know that this is what you want to do and you have to do it. All right. So I really hope you've gained something from today's video. If you want more videos like this, let me know. If there is anything you want me to talk about, please do not hesitate to drop it in the comment section down below. I'm going to look into it and then talk about some of the things that you want me to talk about. Thank you so much for staying tuned till this very moment. Please ensure that you're intentional about your life. Okay, don't joke with your life, don't play with your life. All right. Regardless of what people may say, because if you know anything about change, if you watched my first video, it's the fact that people will always criticize you when you decide to change. All right. So that's not a big deal. So, regardless of what people say, ensure that you are intentional with your life. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe, click on the notification bell till you see the parentheses, and comment. Comment in the comment section down below. Thank you so much and see you next time.